you are talking with the particular person, and whether you're texting or whether you're sitting together, there's just this instant rapport. They get your jokes, you get their jokes. You've got this witty banter going on, and then the sparks are flying because of that. And maybe it's even more than that. Maybe they have these amazing ideas that just totally open up your life to a whole new world. You know what I'm talking about, guys. So here are some indicators in the synastry between you and your partner to show that there is that kind of intellectual chemistry going on. Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan here today with another video in our 5 stages of a relationship series and the astrology of it. So today we're still talking about the attraction or the romance stage, which is the first stage of a relationship. And the particular attraction that we're going to be talking about today is the intellectual or mental attraction and chemistry. So if you haven't watched my introduction video on this series, I highly recommend that you watch that one first. So links up above in the description box below, so you can get an idea about what I'm talking about here with regards to these 5 stages of a relationship. So for this video, you will need to have a synastry chart up between you and a particular partner, and I have mentioned how to do that in one of my videos, links up there in the description box below. So you can check that out if you're not sure how to cook up a synastry chart. So once you have, however, you can come back to this video and then we're going to get started. To see whether you and your partner have that intellectual attraction. So the first thing you want to be looking for is if you and your partner have a sun, conjunct, opposite, trine, sextile, quintile, or biquintile to the other person's Mercury. For the sextiles and the trine, you're going to have to keep the orbs close. I wouldn't do anything more than like 4 degrees. For the oppositions and the conjunction, you can keep the orbs pretty wide, up to like 8 to 10 degrees. So this kind of a connection is going to really show that there is a friendly element to the way they interact with each other. That when you talk to each other, things don't immediately get very subjective or personal. That there is, this open way of communicating, and it's a fun type of communication because both the sun is a very energetic planet and Mercury is this sort of restless, busy planet, and when they come together, there's going to be a certain amount of energy to talk to each other in a friendly way. The next thing you want to be looking for is if you or your partner have a Mercury conjunct, trine, or sextile Mars. This is going, Mars is the energy, more than the sun, different from the sun. The Mars is the energy to act. And when it conjuncts to Mercury, the two of you are going to be, wanting to take the action of talking to each other. And this is really, really interesting because this is showing that when you talk to each other, the Mars person really gives the Mercury person the energy to speak, and then when the Mercury person talks or gives their opinions, the Mars person gets all fired up, and this can even be really great for that sort of conversations that leads to great things in the bedroom, or kind of being turned on by the other person's intelligence. But the communication of the Mercury person immediately becomes spirited and energetic, and this is a really great combo to have. The next thing you want to be looking for is a Mercury conjunct, opposite, square. The square works for this one. And trines and sextiles, but keep the orbs really close for that one as well, to the other person's Jupiter. This is when the Jupiter person expands the mind of the Mercury person. Now with oppositions and squares, this will give more energy for this interaction to happen, but the Mercury person might feel that the Jupiter person is a bit preachy, or sort of thinks that they knows more, but they're still being intrigued, and eventually they will have their world expanded. And this can even be in terms of cultural knowing or wisdom. So the Mercury person's sort of knowledge and opinions becomes wisdom, becomes sort of a belief, becomes something more than just the mundane sort of mercurial knowledge, becomes the wisdom of Jupiter. So this is beautiful to have. The next thing you want to be looking for is if you and your partner have a Mercury conjunct, trine, or sextile each other's Mercury. Not the square or the opposition for this one, but the conjunction here is just really wonderful, and the sextiles and the trine is just great because it's showing that you have either the same with the conjunction or a very compatible way of communication. So there's very little sort of misunderstanding that can happen here, and when one person sort of makes social cues in one way or another, or use even subtle language, or try to insinuate something, the other person just gets it. And this sort of understanding is really, really easy. And you don't have to sort of be in each other's way when it comes to understanding each other. So therefore you can sort of get by with this and then focus your energy on other things in the relationship and not have to, you know, like when you talk to somebody and sometimes you say, oh yeah, that is so awesome. And the other person's like, Like, you see how the style of communication there is, I mean, you're probably agreeing on something, but it's just not clicking. But when you go, yeah, that's awesome, no. The other person goes, no, yeah, I know. You see what I'm saying? It's like the style of communication just vibes in that sense. This is a Mercury conjunct trying to sextile the other person's Mercury. The next thing you want to be looking for is a Mercury moon contact. Mercury conjunct moon, sextile, or trines to the other person's moon. Not the opposition, definitely not the square. But with the other three that I mentioned, or quintile or biquintile is beautiful as well. This is more so going to affect the moon person because the moon is definitely more of a personal planet. So the moon person is really going to feel like, you know, their deepest feelings, their sort of the things that they feel very deeply and intensely, that they feel they can't share with a lot of people, the things that they feel at their core. The Mercury person sort of is able to, and the things that is irrational, it's sort of irrational, sorry, the things that are irrational about the moon's needs, the Mercury person can put that into words. They can put that into, they can make sense of that for the moon person. So they help the moon person to make sense of things that seem irrational for them in a way that is not disturbing, in a way that makes the moon feel really understood. And the Mercury person themselves, you know, when they talk about things that is more logical and their opinions and their way of looking at the world, you know, the moon person feels that it really resonates with their core. And so there's this sort of way about them that can build a lot of intimacy and a lot of understanding, basically. The next thing I want to talk about that you want to be looking for, this is a very, very great thing to have in Synastry, is if you have Jupiter, conjunct, sextile, or trine, very close orbs for these three. Your partner's Jupiter, and I say close even for the conjunction here because Jupiter is not really a personal planet, so we want to, you know, see how close it is. The closer it is, the more this will be felt. So this is showing that the sort of the higher mind, Jupiter, the abstract mind of the two of you, it's either the same or it's very complementary and compatible. So this means that the visions that you have for your life is compatible and it's the same. So this, you know, it's like one person says, you know, I really envisioned the world to be so and so and so. And the other person says, yeah, I really envisioned the world to be like this. And this is how I want my life to be based on my vision. And the other person's like, yeah, something like that. And then they, you know, it gets along, right? So this is the higher mind that's meeting up. This is beautiful. This also makes it that so that when you want to share spiritual and discuss spiritual topics, your beliefs about that is going to be the same. So, you know, I've seen that, you know, if you, for example, you have like an air Jupiter and your partner has an air sign Jupiter, so that's Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, and your partner has a Jupiter in Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, then it's kind of like you're going to have an approach, your vision for life and your sort of the higher mind is going to be more experimental, more open, and things like that. And your partner is going to feel the same way. You see what I mean? But if your partner's Jupiter is, let's say, an earth sign, then they're going to have a different vision of life. They're likely to be, depending on other aspects, less sort of experimental within what they view, you know, the moralities of the world to be, and that's going to clash. And that spark will be gone, and that sort of long-term mental compatibility will not really be there. So this is one to be looking out for. And the last thing that I want to mention with regards to intellectual, mental attraction is having Mercury conjunct, opposite, sextiles or trines to your partner's Uranus. The square might also work for this one. The square is not too bad, but it can also work. So this is when, especially with the conjunction for this one, this is when the Uranus person accepts all of the Mercury's weirdo ideas and their thoughts and their musings and the way they're making sense of the world, their rational mind and everything. The Uranus person is going to just accept all of that and allows the Mercury person to have this verbal diarrhea, and it just comes out, and then Uranus just listens, and and the Mercury is inspired by the Uranus's hopes and wishes and ideas, and it's just an instant verbal diarrhea that can go on between the two of you. So guys, those are some of the things that you might want to be looking for in the synastry with regards to intellectual or mental attraction and chemistry. If you have any of these with your partner, then do comment below and let us know what your experiences have been and how many of them do you have, because the more you have, the more that the attraction is going to be based on something intellectual and mental. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below if you haven't. If you already subscribed, then thank you very much for coming along. I do birth chart readings, I do synastry, romantic compatibility readings. More information is on my website, you can check that out. And yeah, I'll be back in the next video talking about the next type of attraction that we could be looking for within the first stage of a relationship in the synastry. Alright guys, I'll see you soon. Bye!